Welcome, gentlemen.
Okay.
So we heard, I think, two fantastic presentations on how the world of TV is changing very quickly around the theme of collaboration. And in particular, I think where Ryan's battle cry, that collaboration is essential and that we have to up the pace. We now are sitting down with Stéphane Coruble, CEO of RTL AdConnect, and Martin Hoberg, Managing Director of Smartclip Europe, both Bertelsmann companies, to see how does this actually look like in practice. What can we learn from a distributed European organization like Bertelsmann with various approaches to collaboration? And I think the timing is right. What a difference actually a decade makes. If we go back to 2008, Project Kangaroo was blocked by the Competition Commission. In Germany, Germany's Gold 2012 was blocked by, I think, the Cartel Office. And now we see nearly every day in the news articles, so there was 2008, Ofcom urges broadcasters to collaborate to survive. Sky and Channel 4 broaden cross-industry leading partnership. And John Moulding right here just recently wrote, advertising collaboration just got bigger with OpenAP and NCC media deal. So I think the climate is right. And we heard from Ryan's presentation, well, is it an offensive or a defensive move? Martin, you just launched something called D-Force in Germany. Can you quickly explain what that is, and were you on the offense or were you trying to defend yourself?
I would totally say it's an offense, and it's one of our collaborations. So starting with Ad Alliance in 2016, which includes Smartclip as an acquisition then, but today is D-Force. D-Force is a demand-side platform. It's a joint venture that we set up with ProSiebenSat.1, our main competitor in the TV business. I think the antitrust regulations aren't really, or haven't totally changed. We still have the issue that we are not allowed to do everything, and maybe for good reason. But in this case, it was possible because it's always a question of the market definition. And the market definition of being doing a demand-side platform jointly is totally different from collaborating in the TV business or bundling TV with digital and offers. And therefore, it's a great opportunity for us to set up a demand-side platform, especially for addressable TV inventory, to keep this market safe from all the things we saw two presentations before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you're working with your biggest competitor in the German market in a kind of, as regulators would say, highly oligopolistic structure, where in the traditional linear TV world, IP Deutschland, the RTL sales house, and 7.1, the ProSiebenSat.1 sales house, occupy around 82% of the market.
Yes.
How did you reach out to your competitor? How did this collaboration actually go about? Was it the glass of wine at the conference?
Interesting question.
Where did you get started?
So, of course, you have joint industry committees, and where you meet in official places or in situations like this, where you get to know each other. Maybe one has worked for the one company, later for the other. And so there are some ties. We are only people in one local market. And so we know each other, we set it up an idea. And in this case, it's a success, and we're really looking forward for the years we have now our own demand side in place. It's a little bit of our walled garden. Not that not everyone is welcome to this little party, but everyone is welcome, even Google. But this is the thing that keeps our inventory in our hands.
So can you outline a little bit to the audience who are not familiar with the German market? What is D-Force de facto offering now to agencies and advertisers?
So D-Force is a demand-side platform, and actually is not that we build it in new software. We took one and licensed it for our purposes. Mm-hmm. D-Force itself has or includes the first level support. Always what is so important for our customers, to get us a fast and really well support. That is located in D-Force, plus a software license. And we offer this DSP, and we have display and video inventory available, plus addressable TV. And the unique thing is that our addressable TV inventory is not available to buy automatically or programmatically in any other case. So you can buy it IO from all the sales houses, or you go via DSP to buy our ATV inventory.
Now, D-Force isn't the only strong collaborative initiative within RTL and Bertelsmann. There is the broader umbrella of RTL AdConnect Stephane, how does that relate to D-Force, and what's the angle that RTL AdConnect is taking on the theme of collaboration?
Yeah, so first of all, maybe a step back, because I don't know how the audience is aware of what we do at RTL AdConnect. So we are the international sales house of RTL Group, but not only, because thanks to predication and the future doesn't seem so rosy after the presentation that I saw, and it's not the first one I hear that. You have basically two people here in operations and doing what they can to make things happen really against the big evil empire. So RTL AdConnect is one of the initiatives within RTL Group, but not only with RTL Group. We've been expanding to other non-RTL Group partners, and the way we have set up RTL AdConnect, basically we have chosen one big player per market in Europe. So we're covering 12 markets. So we have the RTL Group markets, 9 countries, but we expanded those countries to 12. So we have ITV in the UK that we represent. We have RAI in Italy that we represent. We have DPG in Belgium to cover North and South, allowing us to have a compelling offer for an international clients who want to do a big campaign in Europe. And if I take an example of US, we have an established offices in the US. We really represent ourselves as the gateway to Europe in order to simplify the access to premium inventory. So this is what we do. And where it relates to the German alliance is, I think, in order to compete in an extremely disrupted ecosystem today, you need to see your competition in another way. You need to take a little bit of a step back and redefine a bit who is your direct competitor. It's not necessarily your competitor of the last 30 or 50 years anymore, but it's a bigger issue. When you talk about the big players, the US players, the platforms, they have one big advantage. It's the same platform everywhere in the world. It's the same product everywhere in the world. There's consistency and simplification. And we, as broadcasters, or legacy broadcasters, with strong content, we need to compete against that. So we need to align each other against, something which is coming from the other side of the planet.
Mm-hmm. So we can see a strong kind of tech component in D-Force with a DSP. Would you say at AdConnect, is that mainly an alliance of, or is it a sales alliance, or is there more to it? I mean, we saw in the previous presentations the importance of standards, of measurement, and of unification.
So RTL AdConnect from an international perspective. So we have RTL Group companies within my board, but we've been open for ITV, for instance. Kelly Williams, the head of sales at ITV, is part of our board. So basically we're sharing best practices, we're sharing vision, we're sharing issues in terms of measurement, in terms of demand. How do we need to align sometimes tech or data, the way we collect data in each and every country? Those are strong topics that we discuss around the table. And of course, there is a sales component. How do we leverage the fact that for certain clients and certain advertisers or agencies, how can we leverage our strength with a scalable business across different countries in a simplified access way? It could be TV, it could be linear TV, it could be digital, it could be brand integration. Basically, it's a 360-degree approach that we offer.
Let me add on this for the local market. On top, or basically in the local market, we have an ad alliance, and that is really a collaboration on sales. And that one was really missing in the Amobi presentation. It was about data, measurement, and tech. Yes, very clear points and good points to collaborate on, but why not in sales? We are still not allowed to do sales jointly. Not in D-Force, it's not a sales corporation. It's again not possible because of antitrust reasons. But what we are able to do is to build a consolidated sales house, and Ad Alliance is exactly this. We consolidated the biggest magazine publisher in Germany, one of the two big TV companies, plus 3 digital players. And now we are one sales house. There are still different portfolios, and there are still different competencies within the individual partners. But from January 1st, 2020, there's only one sales force in Germany representing Ad Alliance. And that is the biggest corporation working on this for more than 3 years now to make that happen. And I think that is really kind of power that we set it up here, and an answer to the new market situations. And it's not, from my perspective, it's not so different to the opponent side. So the agency did it as well. And the main purchase director from an agency is not a TV professional, or not in every case. So now we can offer to talk about different segments, media segments, and he's interested in talking more than TV. So we love TV, we love our content, but as a sales house, we represent even more. And now we can offer from influencer marketing over brand integrations, over branded content, over mass reaches on TV. We can really have a 360-degree talk to the agencies and clients now.
And you mentioned previously that also includes forward-looking formats. If we think about connected TV, for instance,
of course,
you said HbbTV in Germany is only available through D4s, right?
When you buy programmatically, yes.
Right. Now, Europe is a fragmented market. The European Commission likes to talk about the digital single market, but we know in particular when we look at the TV market, and I think nothing illustrates it better than your annual kind of TV facts presentation, how specific local markets are in terms of the players, in terms of the buying cultures, in terms of why agencies buy TV, etc. So when you mentioned that you have this gateway into Europe, this kind of stargate, if you will, where the advertiser steps through, how do you reconcile these differences you have nationally in Europe? How do you create this single market for the global advertiser?
Well, I think that's really part of our DNA. We can have global discussions with clients from the US, from Asia, but could be also from Europe that want to go outside their local business or the local markets. And of course, at the beginning, you discuss about their KPIs. What is your objective? What do you want to do? What do you want to achieve? And then, according to their needs, we will look at what is best for their interest. What do we need to take into account? If I take a big statistics, we're still watching linear TV on a daily viewing time of about 4 hours a day in Europe on average. But of course, we know that some other devices are here that capture our attention, etc. So we call that the total video day. If we look at Europe, you take Britain, for instance, 61% of the daily viewing time, the total video day, is still linear TV. When you compare this country to the way linear TV is consumed in Italy, for instance, 91% of the total video daytime is still linear TV. So you see big discrepancies from one country to another, even in a small region like Europe is. So you need to take into account what is important for your clients. And thanks to RTL AdConnect, which is not only a programmatic solution, only a digital video solution, or a brand integration solution, or a TV or 30-second spot solution, we're combining all the different assets that we have within the association or within RTL AdConnect to provide the best solution for our clients.
I have two questions about this. The first is just walk us through. You go to the US. You say you have your office. You have your office in New York. You have the global advertisers there who are familiar with the US companies. They buy internationally, often in a self-serve manner through Google and Facebook. What do you tell them? Hey, here we are, RTL AdConnect. Here's our USP.
So first of all, we're telling them, stop looking at predications. TV is still a very strong element of your media campaign. It's a very strong element of the everyday consumptions, and the consumers are still watching TV. Then TV, the word TV has evolved. It's not only about the big screen, it's about also the other screens. We call that total video. So it can be accessible via a linear TV screen or a non-linear way, etc. So we're combining those assets. And from an international perspective, for a US company, they tend to see, perception could be reality, but perception is not reality. It's not because you have more than 120 million subscribers to SVOD that the whole world is watching SVOD. People are still doing some other things, especially in a hyper-fragmented market like Europe. So you need to take them by the hand to explain them what are the differences and then hear the best solution for your needs. This is what we do for US companies, for example. But you need to have this global approach, global KPIs that we understand, that's what they want to do, this is the destination. But in order to implement what's right for your brand, you need to have a look at the local level.
Now you've both built partnerships and built alliances. What are your kind of recommendations to the audience? What are the top 3 things to build a successful collaboration?
We learned that it's easier to do smaller steps at the beginning, do more testing, do point of
What kind of testing do you mean?
For example, in Airlines, we tested first with not more than 4 customers and tried, is it a value proposition that we bring to the table? And after successful cases, we said, okay, that works for 4, maybe we should expand it. And finally, we said we should talk to an agency and not only for clients. And doing this took time, of course, more than a year, especially this beginning phase. We learned to trust each other. It was really important that on a personal level, we really understand the other's business and their needs. We learned also the markets, the way how they sell the other inventory. And finally, we learned that it makes sense to do it jointly, even when not everyone is winning at the same time. So it's not possible that it's a win-win at all the time. So we acknowledge that sometimes you're a loser, but maybe only in one detail. And the other, your partner is doing better in this specific detail or maybe on this specific client. But overall, it was a win-win situation. And this is where you have to focus on. And this is what you have to explain internally as well, that doing it as a group is better than doing it alone. And this strategic idea, that is really things that you have to share. If one of the partners doesn't share the same idea, you have to fail.
And Stephane, from the national perspective, you mentioned you work with ITV, you work with RAI in Italy. What are the key factors to really ensure that all these partners, even non-RTL partners, are on board?
Well, I would say 2 things. One is agree on the final destination. Okay, so there is a strong competition, which is not anymore local, it's international. This is the final destination. Then the second is about trust. You need to put a lot of trust in an international collaboration. And I can tell you the first objective of RTL AdConnect, maybe some of you may be surprised by that, is not to generate profits for RTL AdConnect, is to generate the highest turnover for our media partners. That's what we are here for. So we're constantly reinvesting what we earn in expertise, in analysis, insights, tools, in order to make things run properly and improve the turnover of our media partners. The second thing is more on a tech perspective. I think we could be reinventing the wheel in each and every market, but that would cost us, or that would cost you a lot of money. And at the end of the day, who are you competing with? You're competing with international or global companies. They have deep pockets. What about cooperating in building new highways? That's why we are supporting the initiative of Smartclip in Europe in rebuilding the broadcasters' highway. Then it doesn't mean that we need to collaborate at every single point, including sales. We can have our own race cars, but at least we control the highway where we race. And that's my key takeout.
Thank you. So collaboration also means open exchange. So maybe we have time for 1 or 2 questions from the audience. Is there something that you would like to ask Martin or Stephane, or join the alliances? The light's going on, so I think...
Good job, guys.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
A big applause to Stephane and Martin.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.